I joined this group called TACT. It's the 10th Amendment Center. We have so much to learn from the founders and old revolutionaries, especially when it comes to strategy to take on the largest government in history. That's probably a big reason why most people never learn much about it from the government running the education system. When looking at the big picture, we can see how the Patriots were incredibly strategic in their actions as the British put increased pressure on American colonists in an effort to force them into submission. The colonists backed up their increasingly forceful rhetoric with concrete actions to undermine British authority, even though we were usurped and betrayed by Zionists. But anyway, right? The Ashkenaz. Um, the colonists began perfecting this formula after the passage of the Stamp Act in 1765. Resistance started with protests. Patrick Henry drafted, you can look him up, he's real, a series of resolutions in the 7th, and then a precursor to the delegated, he was Irish and Negro, American Indian, and reserved powers of the 10th Amendment as he asserted. The inhabitants of this colony are not bound to yield obedience to any law or obedience ordinance, whatever, regarding such taxes outside of those passed by the colonial assemblies. So most of the taxes the government passed, you don't have to abide by. But nor the institutionalizations that tell you that you're wrong and that you're overstepping your boundaries when it has nothing to do with nothing. If you're not the literate that wrote it. If you're restating something that actually exists, how can you be held accountable? See, that's what I'm talking about with YouTube, with their little strike on my 10th Amendment video, showing that even with the vac shot or whatever you want to call it, whatever shots, I can say whatever I want, right? There's no laws against it. And arbitrarily, no corporation can even single out individuals to bring something up against them as if they've judged them. It's not in accordance, even based upon Dead Sea laws. And even if they write a proclamation to their own ideology and their own constitutional laws, they don't apply on my ancestral righteous soil because of their perversions. Now, this is what my attorney shared with me, and the fact that I joined this group, and so to better understand corporate ideologies of law, even with under the narcissism ideology and agendas they want to push, because an agenda, it means exactly that. Do I need to look up the etymology of that? Do I need to have my attorneys exemplify the reality of the situation that they've impeded upon themselves? Well, you would think they'd be smarter than that, but they're not. But it didn't end with the resolutions. Other prominent colonists added their voices to the protests, calling on the people to follow what Henry asserted in principle. John Dixon wrote, "If you comply with the act by using stamped papers, you rivet perpetual chains upon your unhappy country. You unnecessarily or voluntarily establish the detestable precedents, which those who have forged for your fetters ardently wish for to varnish the future exercise of this new claimed authority." So, yes, YouTube, your staff are algorithms. In lieu of what you believe and your fake little attorneys, which you're not really utilizing, have overstepped, and overreached in the angst of your false ideation or belief that you control the narrative. No, you control the platform, but even that shows less or least control. Like I said, a whole bunch of Pelicans I know in here who got notarized, they got notarized in no time at all. Some brothers and sisters who have changed their status the next day, but many Negroes have waited years and they have done nothing wrong. And there are those who have had 1 or 2 strikes with 5 channels who got notarized each time they went up. So, who have got monetized. And what is going on with holding a strike where it is well known that you're wrong? You won't answer that question because you think you're in hiding. Patriots throughout 13 colonies, and we know the 13 colonies is a narrative of falsitudes, but we're going to let it stand for the time being. Blocked the distribution of stamp paper, forced stamp agents to resign, and effectively made that act impossible to enforce. Ultimately, mass resistance and non-compliance forced Parliament to repeal the hated law. Historian Dave Benner summed up colonial resistance this way: the Patriots took a fierce stand against an odious law. In doing so, they inspired tireless masses to their cause, brought about a reversal of policy without representation in Parliament, and changed the world as we know it. As y'all know, Abraham Lincoln was a lawyer before he became the president, and he was not rich. While the colonists effectively nullified the Stamp Act, it didn't end British efforts to maintain control over the colonies. Tensions continued to grow and reached another boiling point with the Boston Tea Party. To punish the colonies, particularly Massachusetts, the Parliament passed a series of acts together known as the Coercive Acts. and that's what my attorneys addressed. These included the Boston Port Act, closing the Boston Port, the Massachusetts Government Act, stripping virtually all authority. They believe, oh, well, nobody's going to leave YouTube. We're paying them. No, and we know, there's a lot of us in the know that, no, that's not going to last long anyway. But the Administration of Justice Act, stripping authority from local courts and authorizing trials to be held in Great Britain instead of Massachusetts, and the Courting Act, allowing British troops to take over private buildings. Even before the Tea Party, the colonists had formed local political bodies known as committees of correspondence, in response to increasing tensions with the British government. These representative organizations formed an underground communications network to promote the Patriot cause and coordinate political actions. That was only because you had certain secret societies and organizations who were seeking them out. The local committee, but still they were very small in number. Local committees of correspondence kicked off resistance by passing resolutions opposing the coercive or coercion acts. The best known was the Suffolk Resolves, adopted on September 9th by delegates of the Suffolk County, Massachusetts Convention of the Committees of the Correspondence. This local protest against the coercive acts called for non-cooperation with British authorities. I know it's contagious too. Excuse me. British government was non-cooperation ran through the resolves. Let me go back. Sorry, non-cooperation with British authorities and for direct action to oppose what it condemned as illegitimate and unconstitutional acts by Parliament. Now we have it as corporations, to which that was also, because Parliament is based out of the Crown. And a strong spirit of non-cooperation ran through the resolve, and the resolutions declared that given the British government was acting contrary to the Constitution, the colonists were under no obligation to obey these legitimate acts. No obedience is due from the province to either or any part of the acts above mentioned, but that they be rejected as attempts of a wicked administration to enslave America. And you see what's going on right now. Like I said, the Crown is still here. They don't run or own nothing, but people have been undermined by these institutions of vehement lies and degradation, and they've allowed themselves to be usurped into an ideology that is baseless and factless. Only fact is that they're a perversion. They go against everything that is normal and natural. Charles Schwab is a perfect example, and there's no defamation of character. It is as it is, for he is a what? He is nobody. And yet, because he laments with these certain individuals, and they reign in the G20 summits and everything else, and the ones of secret, which were spoken up about 20 years ago, nobody has allowed themselves to see clear since then. And because of this education system, further duping many people as a residual effect, we have what you see today. Look at New York with the Stack Gang. These idiots running around doing the things they've done like any and every other gang. Stupidity. And they'll get locked up, come out, I'm OG, I remember when we was doing this, that, and the other. And people will glorify them. Why? Because of what the media, well, I don't think anything will come from these cats, but how we've gotten into this position. And there's so much more based on 1774, October 5th, and September 28th. When they were discharged in Massachusetts Provincial Congress. There's a whole placard of information here that I went through, and then you can go to https://10amendmentscenter.com/members./ You tap on that, and look, that is the downfall of systems, which they pretty much don't care because there's too many truth tellers and too many people informing people about things that they need to be informed about that they can't just normally rather go and get up and knock on the door and say, hey, neighbor, listen to this. And that is the corporate ideology of these so-called fake billionaires who are not really billionaires, but they're in a position placed there because of what they've done, which is hostile in nature and against everything about the people of this land, the true Hebraic people, the truth of the light of us. And in their lies, they have perverted everything. So if you ever have something that goes against you and you sit there and parlay a whole court with an individual who continues to ratify themselves, he or she, in whatever statute that they are arduously holding on to, they are falsifying everything and lying. Yet we are still in a system that is not so blind under their goddess, their fake goddess, that If you know what you're saying and what you're doing, and you actually know the law, regardless of those who want to belligerently ignore it or be arrogant in their ignorance to it, has no weight. Like I said, I give it to my attorneys, and they keep forwarding me all kind of grand information that's just amazing. Oh, it's unbelievable. Oh, some more. I'm going to play the music, and then we'll get started here shortly. This is phenomenal. I got to look at this. Phenomenal. careful. You're on top of the solar panel. Alexander. Alexander. Hey. Get down. Sheesh. You're just like, I'm gonna see if somebody left some catnip around in here or something. He's bugging. Archive.org. No. First, I got to make a couple statements. I guess you ladies and gents, heard about the spraying thing. I can play it back to show its legitimization. It's not false information, but Australia will be utilizing it's called aerosol spraying to inoculate everybody with the vaccine. Okay, that's what they're gonna do. Are they saying it because it's new? Man, I'm guesstimating it's already been done in more places than just over there. The other one is these street gangs that have been running around for the last 10, 20 years, well, as long as we know, based upon after what happened in the 60s. You are some of the dumbest sons of bitches I've ever heard in my life. Let me reiterate, I'm not anti-police, anti-government, or anything. I am anti-bullshit. I am anti the horseshit that we see. I am anti-police who don't know the law and they run up procedures that have nothing to do with being a peacekeeper or anything. And the fact that they're afflicted and they're not doing enough psychological evaluations on the majority of people they're hiring who should not be wearing a badge and a gun. Now, the system, from what I understand by certain individuals who I know who are deputy sheriffs, retired, is that they want the police departments disband because they want anarchy on the streets. That way they can institute the rule of their law. And that is organizations and forces, because of y'all's division and you're not united, that they can apply all kind of unnecessary force. And because y'all lack the most important part of it all, training, would not stand a chance. And I say this, I don't give a damn Blood, Crip, Viceroy, Latin King, whatever goofy gang you belong to, and I spit on all of them. The fact is, you don't have the proper training. Pulling the trigger and buying ammo, which you always run out of because you don't have the speed load, this, that, and other, you will never stand a chance. Even against 100 y'all wouldn't stand a chance between 6 of my well-trained brothers. Even me being sick with an armor plate, enough ammo to take out 3 times as much as y'all would never stand a chance. That's not a threat. That's based on if you study the history of militarization, and we're not, well, some of them are. I'm not special forces. I trained for it. I practice with some of them, and of course, you don't have to be special forces to be a badass. I'm just saying. When I grew up, we fought with these, and there was something different in us. Violence, the nature of it. It's well endowed within us. Y'all, it's emotions and feelings. Those are not our attributes. Empathy, yes, not sympathy. That's why I make those correlations correction. To be deadly doesn't mean that you have to be part of a group and everybody be a sociopath or narcissistic psychopath. All right? A whole different breed. And there's a reason why they want to take your guns, but you're not paying attention. They do everything to keep slipping it in, even though I know both parties are pretty corrupt. First of all, they're all millionaires, and that's not what the government's supposed to be. They're supposed to be like you and I, have it 9 to 5, 40 hours a week. They have overstepped their boundaries, and yet you do not go to speak against it because you're so confused in the state that bad parties in the CIA and Mr. Rockefeller himself and his family organization have allowed to recondition quite a few generations into the stalemate we see today. And they're going to keep talking about the shooting at the gay club in Colorado and all this other because they want to further implement taking that which is in the hands of law-abiding people, citizens, if you want to utilize that term, which I think is pretty stupid. But they won't get ours. I don't give a damn what they do. Let me see if he left something on my door. Excuse me. Look, did they just walk by? You all looking in the window. Oh, he did. You Basil? Don't be afraid, because I work in what day? I work in life. Death. Let's see what we got here. You don't mind doing a package opening with me, do you? Oh, there it is. I got knives everywhere and I can't open this one. This is from Thrive Market. Hope they ain't got no powder that pops out on me. Anthrax, no. Come on, dude. All my knives are very sharp. Let me drink this right quick. Oh my goodness, it canged up a little bit in that cold water. When you make this stuff, do it in room temperature water, please, or you'll have to stir it up pretty good. Okay. You know they don't care about trees, y'all. Oh, my lemon and lime. My lime is deodorant, y'all. And my dandelion dark roast tea. Even though I make my tinctures. And some tuna. Awesome. About quite expensive, I'll tell you that much. Put that up in a minute. Let me get back to what I was saying. Hey, Papa. No, give me all the kisses. That's what you was alarming me too. I didn't. He came so quick. But anywho, I'm not here saying what I'm speaking on is truthful or factual. I'm only speaking from my opinion, alleged to the minds that may perceive other things. I don't care, but to my perception of what I see and what I'm learning. It doesn't mean that it's. I mean, there's documents. I can play the video. I mean, it's all there. So it's not like it's my information because I really don't care less. But I feel like y'all should know these things. And these little gangs, you idiots. And what was the other one? Oh, it's funny how they always attempt to seek bills to take your rights to bear arms. And I told you the reason why. They move on a different constitution, a different ideology. Let's say a constitution doesn't really exist. Yet, it is known that they do move on a different one, which goes against everything that you believe or what you stand for, because they've conditioned you to know or believe in the truth, which is their lie, but your truth, but they assert their lie over your truth. Does that make sense? So, all parties are included. Who remembers when they first started showing everything was a corporation? I do. I remember when the post office was a corporation. I remember when the hospital was a corporation. I remember when even stuff like that wasn't a corporation. You know, when I first saw U.S. Mail Corp, I was like, what in the fuck? Mail was always free. Don't let them spaghetti westerns make you think 2 cent and 5 cent and all that. No, don't believe it. Shipping rifles and all that. No, it was always free for a long time. You know, and then all of a sudden, bam, here we are. We're being charged. That's why original Lone Wolf and Tolo and a few other people are telling you that you can still do it for free. But it's like they gotta hide everything and make sure that the people working these jobs accept their little blue book narrative or gray book narrative and have everybody convinced, because all of a sudden everybody is paying, just like IRS taxes, which goes against our Constitution, everything who we are if you believe in the Revolutionary War. No taxation without representation, yet your representatives don't represent you. They represent themselves. Do you not see all that money from Bitcoin going over there to Ukraine was actually going to liberal pockets? Millions of dollars. Because they become greedy. It's not what you think, it's power. And then they want to make sure that you can't take their power. Have you not seen this in Myanmar and the Philippines and the world over? Have you not seen that in Colombia and Argentina, Cuba, Panama? You don't hardly even hear about Panama nowhere, do you? Why is that? Why is the media always focused on certain things? Well, I watched this one program, I think I saved it on YouTube, where the people, I think it was CNBC or whatever, they were sitting there talking, and the CBC, and they were laughing, saying, oh, all this paper, I hate sitting up here with all this paper, it ain't like them, we're reading from it. Hell, they tell us what to say. I mean, come on. How much longer are people going to sit there and allow themselves? What is it going to take? Well, because they pulled a January 6th on you? That's what I call it. A red flag means an operation. It means like practice. And then they got red flag laws, and you think that you're supposed to abide by it, where they can just go ahead and somebody call. Now you see why certain individual organizations moved into red states to imply or to empirically condemn you without court or anything else. And then you have these people, these jackboots running around who are sociopaths. It's the law, man. No, there's no red flag is not a law, because they make it so based on who? Did you vote for it? It used to be where the people voted on it, and the people's voices asked for it, required it. That's not the case. Not a minority. A minority does not subjugate to others to a law that is irrational and above the Constitution. There is nothing above our Constitution. I told you the Constitution means nothing to them because they didn't write it. And I know a lot of people want to sit there pushing it. Well, thank you. We appreciate you. But if you don't know the truth of the origin of it, or the reality of the people that signed it, but the fake painted lies and faces, like George Orwell and Raoul and all these other individuals have stated, history has been redistributed to the liars. And they're not the winners. They are the people who have set themselves up on a pedestal, on a position to go ahead and rewrite the narrative, to change the names of the statues, to paint over the faces of the pictures, to destroy the symbols of that which once stood in this grandeur, and to replace it with crude ornaments that have no reality or no meaning whatsoever. It amazes me how lucid people are in their whole thoughts to accept the libel ideologies. It makes no sense, but then again, it all does. And even though the truth is coming out, I look at Brooklyn when they have those 5,000 rabbis. On TikTok, I said, oh, and they're all frauds. They're of Yaphet, who was progenitor of Gomer, who had the Ashkenaz children. Isn't Yaphet the second oldest son? Isn't Shem the oldest and Ham the youngest? So what does that allude to? That they're Gentiles. And why is it that many of them know, but yet everybody still beckons upon a false narrative because of fake white privilege? When I can show you people as dark as my Yeti mug that have white on their visas, or Arabs with the same thing? How about the fact that I just shared the information that when Spain's were conquering certain called Black indigenous people in South America, which plenty of them are still there, all of a sudden they became Latin and Mestiz and all these other names other than the Chinos. Or when the French conquered the Black natives in France, in Louisiana and numerous places around there, they become Geechee, which Geechee was already a tribe based on the Calgaechee River, and Creole and Haitian when they're indigenous. How about the Europeans amongst the 5 civilized tribes, and all of a sudden they become Negro, Black, and African American? What's the mother? And then the Vatican says, well, we got to set up our own Indians because we've sourced out the real ones and right in their faces, and we're all powerful. Look at what we've done. Excuse me. Blowing the leaves off my patio, and the windows and the doors cracked. Anyway, and my cat was bugging out. Anyway, why must the lie be so pervasive and everybody accept the lie? If you're so comfortable in the lie, and that's what you like, and I guess you could say in Matrix, where the guy's knowing, I know this is not a stay, you know, blah, 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 and he went back to betray, you know what I'm saying? Is that where you're at? I'm not into the red pill, blue pill nonsense, but I guess adequately it fits the narrative. Must you live in assimilation instead of living your truth? I'm only asking, what is your conviction? What is your conviction? I have people who I love dearly because I made the statement. Yet I have Cashapp on here because I utilize it to the best. You know, when I was training and teaching people martial arts and boxing, this is nothing personal. I'm going to point something out. Because we always think we know the best thing for everybody. Now we have people who have been getting a bag, never showed anybody how to do it, and they've been losing numbers, and people have seen them for what they are, and see they're full of shit and divisive and everything else. The gas is coming here. I got to close that door. I know. You ain't gotta ball my leg. I know it stinks. Yeesh, I know it stinks, okay? But I asked everybody for donations to help me. I'm gonna train children. Man, you help me with some equipment. Though majority of the monetary the funds at that time I was spending myself. And there were a number of individuals who sent like 30 and 20. $40, and they helped me, and it didn't last long. I think it was no more than about $220 I received in all those 7-8 years, well, 10 years of training, and that's pretty sad, right? But you see them, well, they put up a GoFundMe, this, that, and other, and they're getting up $500,000. So we are our own worst enemy. I have a Cashapp because I'm not monetized. I never really sought to be. And they have strikes that they're trying to hold over me. They ain't supposed to last no more than 30 days, and they've been over that. But the first one's gone. The second one already, it was supposed to be 30 days, and it came with some 90-day thing, which is not based upon the second strike. And some people might allude and say, well, it is. Oh, they've changed the narrative, which it shouldn't apply because I was before the narrative was changed, not just recently. But the thing is, I buy the books. I take screenshots of what I purchased. I even show you. I just received 9 of these. I'm keeping 2. And the other 7 I'm going to give out for free after, I guess you could say it's a Christmas thing. But I'm going to put a Christmas tree up for a different purpose to represent the North Pole. Yes, I am. And because it's a stolen ideology, and the idealization of that is to reclaim something that has been perverted through false religions and everything else and other doctrines. When I said everything is upside down and inverted and backwards and reversed, I meant it. And I've been saying it longer than anybody. But this is the Arctic home and the Vedas. So remember I told you I was going to order them? I didn't just order 1. I ordered, again, 9. So around close to the end of next month, whoever hits my Gmail and I get the number for those several. Okay? I'm going to make sure that I mail each one of you one of these that goes. One of the books are here. Now I've got 5 more books coming out of here that y'all heard me read as far as a source of reference. And when I get those, I'm only getting one of those. Now, if y'all interested, you can go ahead and purchase it yourself. And if you want to know, I'll go ahead and I'll annotate all those books. So that way, if you get Flatlanders, you'll have one of the books. Because I found this individual to be very interesting. If you remember by me stating, this is a Lokmanya Bal Gangada Talak, the Arctic Home in the Vedas. I found it very interesting as when I was reading the book for the second time with you guys. And that's why I wanted to get it. And so I actually started reading a few of the pages in this little respite that I had for the last couple of hours. And I'll send that out. And that's what the Cashapp is for. I'm not going to get rich off of no Cashapp. The thing is to help me help you. Because I don't think any of you want to be sitting up on here reading. Some of you can read and then re-quote things. I'd prefer to read from the source. The verbatim, I'm pretty good at giving information. The thing is, I have so much more information to give that is not from the books. But for the time being, I shall read the books when we get those numbers, and then we'll cross over and I will start sharing some more other than the little tea that I give. Now, it's up to you. I mean, I know some of you think you know everything, and I'm not here to stop you from thinking you know everything. I think that's imperative that it may enlighten something in you. But you must seek your truth and stop looking out the window. I know you look at me and you're like, all out the window with it. But when you start looking in the mirror, you might see a resemblance, not physically. Perpetual, like motion, an ocean of truth, an ocean that we are in, and that reconnection to it. I call it order. I know a lot of other people have another way of expressing or deliberating on it and another name for it, but I'm just stating that, hey, look, I'm really about this life. I always have been. It took me a long time to circumvent to get around to where I'm at, to pay attention to my dreams, to listen to that sound in my ear, that connection to something attempting to reach me and talk to me, to meditate, to breathe, to allow myself to aspirate, to allow something else other than what I used to think would be the answer. When I seek strength, I don't seek it in the physical no more. I seek it in something different. When I seek collaboration and cooperation, I seek it in something that is not perverse. Though I still, for some reason, these bodies of ours can hold on to perverse ideology and ideation. The thing is to further circumvent yourself, to remove yourself, to, again, this word, distill yourself, to purify yourself, because they want to make sure that you remain as toxic and poison as possible. Okay? So yes, I have 9 of them. I'm gonna keep these 2, the other 7 in that box over there. Why? Because I want to give one of these to a good friend, a person I consider a nephew. He calls me uncle all the time. I want to send this to him. And that's out of respect. And in the other books that I get, I'll make sure I read all of them to you in accordance to how they were laid out in Flatlanders. So that way we have a more viable system of learning. And that's what a lot of people don't know how to do. That's one thing I loved about college. I ain't gonna lie. I know what you learned there, only a little bit would benefit you. With nursing school, there was a lot of things that could benefit you, phlebotomy, blah, 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 depending on what you were taking and learning. Medical terminology, depending on if you was going to be working in an operating room or this, that, and other, then you still had more classes and stuff to learn. But like medical billing and coding, that will assist you. That'll make sure that you're, as far as mathematically, endowed to be able to perform the job. When a lot of people get there, they realize they're more clerical and secretarial than actual medical bill and coding, which I did that too, y'all. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Pre-med, nurse, to medical bill and coding, and I said, let me become a nurse, which I am not a practicing nurse. I just enjoyed being able to go to college for it. And sociology was the direction that I focused on. So, with that being said, I guess I said quite a bit of a mouthful. That's 48 minutes of running my temporal. We'll get ahead and get into this reading. We'll start with Enoch, Flatlanders, and then finish off with the ISIS papers. No, Enoch. Yes. Yeah, we'll do it like that in other words today. Enoch and ISIS papers and Flatlanders, excuse me. And then I got to go over to TikTok, which they tried to block me about 3 or 4 times today, talking about challenges and may harm or hurt somebody. I was like, y'all so full of shit. And I would screenshot everything they did, Send it back to them and say, what, y'all that bothered? Y'all that emotionally unstable? And you on my soil with this shit? I don't care where you're working out of, covertly. I wouldn't care if it was just the Justice League. I would, like I care. Yeah, but it's funny. Yeah, here we go. Chapter 58. I guess I can turn that down some more. My boys out there getting up all them piles of leaves. I want to go out there and jump into a big old pile. Okay. I have the other one. Somebody asked about read the other Enoch. Man, believe me, they're both kind of the same. The third parable, chapter 58. And I began to speak the third parable concerning the righteous and the elect. Blessed are ye righteous and elect, for glory shall be your lot. And the righteous shall be in the light of the sun, and the elect in the light of eternal life. The days of their life shall be unending, and the days of the holy without number. And they shall seek the light, the Hava, and find righteousness with the Hava of spirits, the light of spirits. And there shall be peace to the righteous in the name of the eternal light. And and after this, it shall be said to the holy in heaven, that they should seek out the secrets of righteousness, the heritage of faith. That's why I'm always expressed to you, stop having fear. No matter what you see or go through, let it go. For it has become bright as the sun upon earth. For they are one, y'all. They're both a mother. And the darkness is past. And there shall be a light that never endeth. And to a limit, in parentheses, lit number of days shall they not come. For the darkness shall first have been destroyed. We're talking about this not like the moon in the night, y'all. Just pay attention. Told you this language is a spell. And the light established before the Hava of spirits, and the light of a righteousness established forever before the Hava of spirits. In chapter 59. In those days mine eyes saw the secrets of the lightnings, and of the lights, and the judgments they execute. All different types of judgments. Again, in parentheses, lit their judgment. And thy lighten for a blessing of a curse, as the Hava of spirits willeth. That means laid down long before it was even mentioned. And there I saw the secrets of the thunder, and how when it resounds above in the heaven, the sound thereof is heard. And he caused me to see the judgments executed on the earth, whether they be for well-being and blessing, or for a curse, according to the word of the Hava of spirits, or light. And after that, all the secrets of the lights, the Hava, and lightnings were shown to me. And they lighten for blessing and for satisfaction. Book of Noah, a fragment, chapter 60. And then we'll go on to the next book. In the year 500, in the 7th month, on the 14th day of the month in the life of Enoch, in that parable I saw how a mighty quaking made the heaven of heavens to quake, and the hosts of the Most High and the angelic ones are thousands, because they're not angels. Angelic and angels are two different things. Now I know they'll have you believing they're the same. I already talked about the islands of those who are considered the angels who visited us. And the angels are thousands, the angelic ones, 1,000, thousands, and 10,000 times 10,000, were disquieted with a great disquiet. Remember I asked you to do the number, the math? It's kind of impossible, even though you can lay down over 200 million. And the head of days sat on the throne of his glory, and the angelic ones and the righteous stood around him. And a great trembling seized me, and fear took hold of me. and my loins gave way. We're talking about somebody who was righteous, y'all. That means he got weak, couldn't barely stand, and dissolved were my reins, and I fell upon my face. Reins, I guess something he thought was keeping him up. That means he went prostrate. And Michael sent another angel or angelic one from among the holy ones, and he raised me up. And when he had raised me up, my light returned, for I had not been able to endure the look of his host, of this host, and the commotion and the quaking of the heaven. And Michael said unto me, because it's not Michael, it's Michael, said unto me, why art thou disquieted with such a vision? That means so unnerved. Until this day lasted, the day of his mercy, and he hath been merciful and long-suffering towards those who dwell on the earth. It means he's been standing by, he's just standing by like, what in the flying, in my terms, not in his. But he's got to let it fall, he's got to let it go out, because he knows the greatness and the possibilities. Everything is a choice, people. And when the day and the power of the punishment and the judgment come, which the Hawa of light, the spirits, have prepared for those who worship not the righteous law, that means order, people, and for those who deny the righteous judgment, and for those who take his name in vain, that day is prepared for the elect a covenant, but for the sinners an inquisition. When the punishment of the Hawa of light or spirits shall be rest upon them, it shall rest in order that the punishment of the Hawa of light or spirits may not come in vain, and it shall slay the children with their mothers and the children with their fathers. It's all you wicked son of bitches. Afterwards, the judgment shall take place according to his mercy and his patience. And on that day, where two monsters parted, a female monster named Leviathan, to dwell in the abysses of the ocean over the fountains of the waters, but the male is named Behemoth, who occupied with his breasts a waste wilderness named Duaden. Remember the movie Dune? On the east of the garden where the elect and righteous dwell, where my grandfather was taken up, the seventh from Adam, the first man whom the Hawa spirits created, and I besought the other angelic one that he should show me the might of those monsters, how they were parted on one day and cast, the one into the abyss of the sea, and the other into the dry land of the wilderness. And he said to me, thou son of man, herein thou dost seek to know what is hidden. And the other angel who went with me and showed me what was hidden told me what is first and last in the heaven in the height, and beneath the earth in the depth, and at the ends of the heaven and on the foundation of the heaven. And the chambers, that means all around, people, and the chambers of the winds, and how the winds are divided, and how they are weighed, and how the portals of the winds are reckoned, each according to the power of the wind, and the power of the lights of the moon, and according to the power that is fitting, and the divisions of the stars according to their names. The stars according to their names. The luminaries. And how all the divisions are divided. And the thunders according to the places where they fall, and all the divisions that are made among the lightnings, that it may lighten, and their hosts, that they may at once obey. For the number has places of rest. Wow. Which are assigned to it, while it is waiting for its peal. And the thunder and lightning are inseparable. And although not one and undivided, they both go together through the spirit, the light of and separate not. And we are not supposed to be separated, people. We are the light. We are the embodiment of that, of creation, the source. For when the lightning lightens, the thunder utters its voice, and the spirit enforces a pause during the peal, and divides equally between them. For the treasury of their peals is like the sand, and each one of them, as it peals, is held in with a bridle, and turned back by the power of the soul or the spirit, the order, the light, y'all. and push forward according to the many quarters of the earth. Sounds kind of familiar, Flatlanders? And the spirit of the sea is masculine and strong, and according to the might of his strength, he draws it back with a rein. And in like manner, it is driven forward and disperses amid all the mountains of the earth. Where's that at? What does that sound like, y'all? And the spirit of the hoarfrost is his own angelic, and the spirit of the hell is a good angelic. And the spirit of the snow has forsaken his chambers on account of his strength. There is a special spirit of light therein, that which ascends from it is like smoke, and its name is frost. And the Hawa, or the light of the mist, is not united with them in their chambers, but it has a special chamber, for its course is glorious both in light and in darkness. Magnetic mountain, throne on top of it, the heavens right here. And in winter and in summer and in his chamber is an angel. You just got to be in you just got to be in everything, don't you? And the spirit of the dew has its dwelling at the ends of the heaven, and is connected with the chambers of the rain. And its course is in winter and summer, and its clouds and the clouds of the mist are connected, and the one gives to the other. There's a balance, people. That means one to the other, and back and forth. And when the Hawa, or light of the rain, goes forth from its chamber, the angelic ones come and open the chamber and lead it out. And when it is diffused over the whole earth, it unites with the water on the earth. And whensoever it unites with the water on the earth, for the waters are for those who dwell on the earth, for they are nourishment for the earth from the Most High, who is in heaven. Therefore there is a measure for the rain, and the angelics take it in charge. And those things I saw towards the garden of the righteous, and the angel of peace, who was with me, said to me, these two monsters, prepared comfortably to the greatness of Hawa, shall feed. That destruction will be, it's imminent, and it will be permanent. I mean, as far as those out here doing what they do. And if you're part of doing what you do with them, more power to you. We're going to read Flatlanders, keep it a little tight. Oh, let me see something right quick. Let me go back. That of the Gods is one I'm waiting on. That one I want to really get into. That is going to be banger. In the Cradle of the Paradise Found, William Warren, Paradise Found, the Cradle of the Human Race at the North Pole. I can't wait till I get that one. I think that one I ordered is going to be here Friday. So you guys, $5 in Cashapp. I'm not begging that, but it helps me. There's more books I want to buy. I've got a list of them. There's like 25 books, y'all. And though I have plenty of books, I will read those others too. Because the thing is, after this, I need to get back into William and, the Civil War, because that all ties into, and there's a book on the Revolutionary War as well that I want to read as well. It ties into a lot of things you see going on right now that allows people to have a better conceptualization of why, or as to, or how. Okay, let me see, where is that? I didn't order that book. Now, Chet Manduza, The Mythic Geography of the Northern Polar Regions, I think that comes tomorrow. That's why I was looking at, and what you call it. That is going to be really, really, really good. Really, really good read, I believe, from the information that I've been giving. Paradise Found, the Cradle of the Human Races is pretty awesome. Like I said, I can't wait till that comes. Where's it at? Where's we at? Where we at here? The sun and the moon. We know the male and the female. Okay, that one's the No, I know where we're at over here, but I'm looking for something. One of the books that I ordered. I'm like, I can't remember the name of I think I make it right around here. Actually, Chet Van Duzer, the mythic geography of the northern polar regions. That one I might get actually next week. I think this last one I ordered, other than the one that Sue. That one should be here tomorrow. If it's not here today, I'll pick that up. The Arctic Home in the Vedas. Here we go. Lakama Bal Gandhar Tilak, the Arctic Home in the Vedas, and that's right there. And y'all know that was this is just phenomenal as far as the Sanskrit, Greek, Latin, German, all that different stuff. As far as even with the Theosophical esotericists like Helen Blavatsky of the Theosophical Society, and why the righteous are in the position they are in, and how these religions came to be. Now, I only skimmed through a couple of pages. I didn't read the whole book yet. Now, I'm going to actually read that book with you guys. I'm not going to read it like I usually do, and then it's going to be all brand new. Even though I have a way of interpreting certain things, not all things. You know what I'm saying? So it'll be a first time with you. I don't want to search too much. And then we can all probably, when we start reading it, we'll do podcasts every night where we can all speak on what we think we've learned from it. It'll be the first time reading it. Okay, let's get into this. The ancient Egyptians, remember we're here now, because when we finished off with but the waters continued to rise and the people climbed upwards to escape the flood. And that was based off of Dr. Warren Williams' Paradise Found, the cradle of the human race at the North Pole. All right. The ancient Egyptians, Phoenicians, Persians, Greeks, Syrians, and Assyrians all had their own virgins. And they were all melanated people, Negroes. Own versions of a world tree as well. It doesn't mean they weren't pale skins there. I'm just stating a fact. The Greek winged oak of Perseus and the holy palm of Apollo in the Hyperborean garden of Hesperides were two stories of this sacred tree. The Egyptian tree of life was located at the axis of Earth and was home to Bennu, the sunbird, who sat upon its branches. Now, I know some of y'all was part of that Pan-African stuff. You can pretty much crush these words out. But I guarantee you they're wrong too. That I can guarantee. The Egyptian tree of life was located at the axis of Earth and was home to Bennu, the sunbird, who sat upon its branches. The north wind from its polar perch yielded a life-sustaining celestial rain upon the earth. Celestial, y'all. Rain. We're just reading. Upon the earth. Whose window, portal, what angelic or celestial being? Upon the earth and down to Duat, the underworld. Now, a lot of y'all realize there's been about 3 or 4 forests found under the ground. China, actually one here, the other one's over there, and somewhere in Missouri. Where's it at? Over in I know South America, and the other one's over in where's it at? Over in Sudan, like Upper Africa or something like that. I forget. If any of y'all remember, please state it. I can't remember. Anyway, the Persian Zoroastrian tree grew atop the summit of Harabazereti, the world's tallest mountain and the geographic center point of the universe. Now, this is all showing the relationship between all these different so-called ethnicities and times and everything else. It's showing that everybody knew. Okay, that's all I'm saying. All right, the world's tallest mountain of the geographic center point of the universe, around which the stars revolved, and behind which the sun hid at night. It was home to the Ardve Sura, the polar head spring, source of all waters, falling from heavenly rivers to earth before descending to the underworld. In our interpretation, the original river is from the sky. The division takes place on the heights of the pole, and the division takes place on the heights of the pole, the 4 corners. Where would it come from if not from the center of the earth? And the 4 resulting rivers are the chief streams of the circumpolar continent as they descend in different directions to the surrounding sea. Does such a view find any support in the traditions? Of the ancient world? that it does will be clear to anyone who has carefully read thus far. Let us take the rivers of the Persian cradle of the race. Where do they rise? If the investigator of this question have made no previous studies in comparative sacred hydrography, he will be surprised to find that in Persian thought, not only the paradise rivers, but also all the rivers of the whole earth have but one head spring and but one place of discharge. This head spring is the Advesura, situated in heaven, in the heaven of the pole. This heavenly fountain, says Huang, summarizing the contents of the Abanyast, has 1,000 springs and 1,000 canals. Why do they always say there's only 2 rivers that flow backwards? I'm just saying, from the north. The contents of the Abanyast has 1,000 springs and 1,000 canals, each of them 40 days journey long. Thence the channel goes through all the 7 Keshkvas, or regions of the earth, conveying everywhere pure celestial waters. I really need to learn that language. Dr. William Warren, Paradise Found, The Cradle of the Human Race at the North Pole. Yeah, I did order that book. I know I did. These concepts, with my funds, so don't worry. These concepts of celestial rainfall, I don't want to break y'all's little piggy bank. These concepts of celestial rainfall and heavenly rivers are found concurrent with most world tree myths. We don't know how to keep the dollar flowing between us for good purposes. We just don't. In the Mexican version, and we know that Mexicans only exist, because of what? Mating with our indigenous women of this earth. World tree myths. In the Mexican version, Tlaloc, the god of water, lives atop the world's tallest mountain whence all the earth's rains and streams come. In the Indian version, the heaven springs Ganga falls upon Mount Meru, first watering the land of God. And we know that's not India. This is in the Indian version, people. Land of gods at the pole, then flowing outward towards the cardinal points from 4 main rivers into the Arctic Ocean. The Hindu epic Mahabharata says the head spring exists in the highest heaven of Vishnu, high above the highest star Dhruva Polaris. During their descent, the waters first wash Dhruva, then the 7 rishis, Great Bear, and then fall atop Mount Meru, where the heavenly Ganga River divides into 4 mighty rivers. When y'all hear that word Ganga before? Come on, man. The Japanese ain't slip with the manga shit. The mighty rivers flowing in opposite directions and feeds the world's oceans. And all this lays bare for us the origin of the Iranian and Hindu holiness of water. Excuse me. River water is everywhere throughout India, held Hindustan, Ethiopia, I'm gonna call it, held to be instinct with divinity, says Dr. Munir Williams. Among primeval peoples who observed the connection between the rains and the springs and water courses, which were manifestly swelled by them, all waters became a supernatural origin and the gift of the heavens God, and thus the heavens river, clearly discerned by the eyes of faith in the heavens, as the Milky Way became the generation and sanctifier of all earthly rivers. According to Josephus, the Ganges, Tigris, Euphrates, and Nile were but members of the one great ocean river of the Greeks, which ran about the whole earth, which Aristotle described as having its origin in the upper heavens, descending in rain upon the earth, feeding as Hesiod, Homer, and Euripides said, all fountains and rivers and every sea, then branching out into the rivers of the underworld, to be returned, fire purged and sublimated to the upper heavens, there to recommence its round. Circle of Divinity, people. John O'Neill, Night of the Gods, Volume 2. I'm gonna stop right there. Woo! We're getting into some meat of some stuff, y'all. We're getting into the meat of some stuff. Yes, sir. Woo, child. That's woo, woo, woo. All right, I'm gonna do the woo-woo stuff too much. All right. Yeah. So now we can probably see how we got here. The beautiful thing about reading the ISIS paper, it kind of, you don't have to believe it's all about some black empowerment or black power or this, that, or cursing the pale skinned white man, whatever, the sister. I told y'all to look her up, didn't I? If y'all didn't look her up, Dr. Frances Cress Welsing. Look her ass up. So pay attention. Contemporary contributors to the definition of alienation include such thinkers as psychoanalyst Eric Fromm, as if that don't speak a ton of fucking information, philosophers Louis Mumford and Herbert Marcus, existentialists Jean-Paul Sartre, Albert Camus, Paul Tillich, and Martin Buber, and sociologist David Reisman, Robert K. Merton, and Talcott Persons. Holy smack. If that ain't something to let you know something. In summary, there are at least 5 causal theories concerning alienation. And you see, we can be alienated from anything. The economic, the technological, and sociological, and philosophic, existential, and the psychological. Karl Marx is identified with the economic theory. Now, y'all know Karl Marx. He may have come up with the idea of Marxism, but it was his wife that pushed it and his cousin who ran with it. Marx viewed alienation as a result of the private ownership of the means of production and the expropriation of man's labor by the capitalists. So here we see they want to pull Marxism here, right? But yet the ones who are pushing it are the ones who are the richest. Like, make it make sense. It is for division. So now are you paying attention to alienation? And it's not just that. It's going to the libraries of these schools and everywhere and look at how much history books are in there, but then look at the manga section and then look at the gay section. Resulting in worker exploitation and class struggle, money and commodities becoming the most meaningful things in man's existence, and thus man's alienation from man. Technological, and that means worldly, y'all. Technological theories attribute alienation to man's adjusted lifestyle to machines and automation. Are we not dealing with that now, people? Sociological theories view the decline of the limited local community, the emergence of mass society, and the simultaneous increasing sense of individual powerlessness. As the cause of alienation, philosophic existential theories emphasize that alienation is inherent in the finite and isolated character of man's existence as a stranger and an alien in the world. Psychologic theories are dominated by the views of Sigmund Freud, that cokehead motherfucker. Anyway, all this shit was on theory, based upon theory, who viewed alienation or self-estrangement as a resultant of the split between the unconscious and the conscious forces in the personality. The split. Well, how did that come to be? The individual thus being out of touch in the sense that repressed, the unacknowledged desires motivate his behavior. Let me read that again, people. The individual thus being out of touch in the sense that repressed and unacknowledged desires motivate his behavior. Out of order, y'all. There's no character of order representing the individual because of the degradation and separation. Who viewed alienation or Sigmund Freud, who viewed alienation, alienated from your truth, or self-estrangement, being estranged by outside forces from your righteousness, as a resultant of the split between the unconscious and the conscious. Your water, food, and air is being poisoned around you, but you're unconscious. And your conscious doesn't recognize it, which forces in the personality the individual thus being out of touch in the sense that repressed and unacknowledged desires motivate the behavior we see today, people. More specifically, Freud pinpointed the Oedipal conflict and the frustrations inherent in civilized society, as expressed in his Civilization and its Discontents, as the source of alienation. I only want to read that. I'm not going to read no more. I just wanted to read that to y'all. So, the truth of history being done away with in less than 140 years. The alienation from order, separation, the degradation, and the righteousness scripted by the eyes of those, even in the fear of the most righteous. Do you see why we're on the plane we are on? When you live a lie, what do you think is going to come from you? I'm not saying everybody's lying. I'm saying living a lie doesn't mean that everything you speak is the truth. Do you get the relevance in that? I'm going to leave y'all with that today as a thought. And I might be doing an open mic tonight. I know I took a little while off from it, but I think it'll be beneficial, where everybody can voice their opinions and their thoughts on these things, and I'll make sure to include them in the topic, so that way people have a focal point to ascertain, to focus on. All right? Is there anybody in here to give shots out? Because I didn't see nothing popping up. Rondo, Shamil Thomas, Mama Red. I appreciate y'all, I sure do. And I hope this was beneficial for you guys. I really do. I know we have people that surf and they look because they're angst and they seek something. I would love to see people just slow down. As I've stated on TikTok and numerous other places I've stated on here, the most powerful two weapons is patience and time. If you don't have patience, how can you have time? If you seek time, don't you have to have an order of patience? Don't one include the other? Without one, you can't have the other? How can you have time if you have no patience? How can you be patient but don't seek or respect time? I would love to see people come around instead of their pedestals they built. What happens? Like, say if I was just doing 2A and I was showing y'all all the guns I built and everything now, and all the different ways I trained and sharing everything. Not only would I be telling everybody about me so they get all the hands up, which they never would, but I mean, that can draw on numerous numbers, and I can every month go and buy a new rifle and keep it going and going and going, and be working out and showing y'all my recipes for cooking, and that would entice you, right? But that would be all false. It'd be a reality in this material world. I don't want to see nobody with guns. I want to see the world in order, steeped in it. Yet, we have tyranny abode. And there'll be a time when nobody will need no damn gun. Trust me, I'm talking about the elect. All these mothers training in the camps and blah, 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 and all the killing. No, those that came before them will be gone. But the next generation, there'll be individuals who didn't have to be genetically modified from stolen DNA, from eggs and melanated people's cells to create some new, that ain't new, super soldiers of some form that never stopped since Hitler. No, it wouldn't matter what was created. I wouldn't give a damn if they was 80 feet tall. There are going to be these coming that it don't matter what they do. Let's say if they killed everybody off and they had 500,000 people and majority of them were babies with these idiots to nurture them into a lie. It would turn on, and doesn't matter what they did. Even if they attempted lobotomies on babies, everything would correct itself. It's the source. It would never get to that point. I'm just stating something. That's going to happen. That's going to happen now. Trust me. You would think that people would come around and stop being afflicted in their lives, and they would pay attention. They'd be like, you know what? Instead of thinking everything they hear is a quack or misinformation or based upon some ideology of ideation of, what is it called? I hate this word. Created by the CIA to put y'all off when they murdered John F. Kennedy. But conspiracy theorists? Well, how can you have a conspiracy if you don't have a theory that a conspiracy exists? And then how can you have a theory without the conspiracy actually existing? Aren't they one and the same people? In order to have a conspiracy, there must be something that leads to a theory of the resolution of how the conspiracy exists. And if you have the conspiracy, it must be based upon a theory that makes it relative. So that way you don't have to punch holes in everything. Now you can do what's called critical thinking or detective work, and you can find out the appropriate information. But see, now if you have a network of deviants and a handful of good people in it who are not part of the deviation, how can you find out when all they do is lie and continue to corrupt and collaborate to bring more disenfranchisement and dissension, create further division and poison and murder. You know, it takes a special group of fuck-ups to go ahead and select individuals like that, to seek them out and to train them no matter how long, because they need those perversion souls. It's like that movie with Christopher Walken, where he played one of the fallen angels, angelic ones, right? And he wanted the most wickedest soul of that general or whatever, that army, marine, whatever the fuck he was. And it got into a little Indian girl, a little Native American girl. And the other individual, once Catholic, became police officer, was called upon to exercise, to get that demon, or with the ceremonial earth, magic, or Indian Native American ceremonies, to get that soul out of that girl and make sure it never got to Christopher Walken, which fought Gabriel and all them and Raphael and all that. So was he supposed to be Michael? I forget. Anyway, but you know what I'm saying. What was the name of that movie? Anybody remember the name of that movie? I'm gonna pull it up right quick, if y'all don't mind waiting. Are y'all patient? If you know it, please type it in. If you don't know it, I'll look it up myself. I'm not gonna look it up in here because that's gonna take forever to go up. Let's go to DuckDuckGo. And yeah, there we go. That's quick. Yes, here we go. The Prophecy. It's on YouTube, people. It's on YouTube. Why did it do that? What happened? Let me see something. Stay right there. Don't go nowhere. Let's see if we can. I don't want to get no copyright, but let's turn that off. Let's turn this on. It might not have no sound, sadly. We'll see. I think it does.
I remember the first war. The way the sky the faces of angels destroyed. Serve our cause.
Hold on, here we go. Listen. I'm not gonna play the whole thing.
I remember the first war. The way the sky burned. The faces of angels destroyed. I saw a third of heaven's legion banished, and the creation of hell. I stood with my brothers and watched Lucifer fall. But now, my brothers are not brothers, and we have come here, where we are mortal, to steal a dark soul, not yet Lucifer's, to serve our cause.
Okay, now you go on YouTube and you can watch The Prophecy. The full movie's there. I'm not gonna sit here and get copyright strikes and all that stuff. Okay, not that copyright strike stops anything, but I just wanted to give you that as a source. And in that movie, you see that, and that's what I'm alluding to, is the reality of the situation is, are we not dealing with that in some? There's, I think about, like 2 or 3 other ones after that, dealing with that in some kind of way, dismissal. So what is a conspiracy and a theory? What does it allude to? What is the dismissal? When the government went against the Constitution, when they just separated God and state. Do you know what God and state was? The people from the government. Are you aware of that? God and state was the people, the Godhead, the people and government. and they become richer and more corrupt, and they don't want to let that power go. And you see the sickness in it. 80-year-old president, who the fuck votes for somebody like that? You know what the simple-minded individual who's cooperated with their brainwashing says? Well, I think they're the person for the job. Like they know what the fucking job entails. The majority of them, when I've asked them, they don't know what the Constitution is, nor the Bill of Rights, or the amendments. Isn't that sad? And yet they run the vote, that perilous journey, and then they put the little thing on. I think they go and get so they can get the little pin. I voted. I've seen some people put that up. I thought it was intelligent. I'm like, yeah, and I don't want to be nasty, but yes, you did, you stupid son of a bitch. You dumb motherfucker. You voted, all right. You voted for your own motherfucking, who's that son of a bitch preacher who went down to Guyana, wherever the fuck, and Jim Jones? Yeah, well, yeah, everybody don't have to drink the Kool-Aid, people. Everybody does not have to drink the Kool-Aid. A friend of mine says, you know what's happening, Red? They keep hiding you. And they don't want you, because I told you, I remember I was telling you about, I was getting all these people who are letting me know that they subscribe, and I was taking a screenshot of YouTube, and it was showing the same number for 2 weeks, and I had like 30 people say they subscribe. And I broached upon it, YouTube, you know this, motherfuckers. And all of a sudden, then I'll see the numbers. They keep hiding shit. You know, I don't even get notifications when people subscribe now. I did a couple of times, but the majority of the time, that's how scared they are, but how so deliberate in their attempt to provoke. You can't provoke that which allows you to provoke. They are so misguided. And then all I ask of y'all is to share it. And that's it. And y'all act too afraid, so fearful. And I say that even though you think that's not what it is, I say it because I know that's what it is. You are so busy listening to so many antagonists who have cultivated your mind and nourished you with so much foolishness. And you've had that so much that you can't even free yourself because you won't take the first step. Unless there's a lot of pain upon you. That's not who we are. We don't need pain to elevate ourselves. We don't have to be in agreement. But there's going to be a day when you're going to wish you was in agreement. So I'm going to close that off with that. And you already got the little T for you to research. So y'all have a grand day. And like I said, later on, I got to go over to TikTok. And I'm surprised I can see everybody who subscribed to me. Anyway, I'll go over there and do the reading over there. It's very pertinent that I do that. And I told them I'd be there to do that. And so, ladies and gents, that will never change, except for that one day when I had to really go in. I think I did it then too. So, anywho, I want y'all to have a grand day, a grand evening, and I'll see y'all maybe later tonight. Thank you for stopping in.